Today I'm driving the coast of Oregon. I've always wanted to drive the 101, so I'm getting the opportunity to do that. So after leaving Bend, Oregon, for my last video, on a recommendation from this couple I met, they really liked the town of Sisters, but when I got there, it was completely packed. Apparently there was two things going on. One was the Sisters Rodeo. I don't know if that's a yearly thing or a monthly thing, but yeah, there was a rodeo in town. So the fairgrounds were completely packed with RVs. Then also there was a quilt convention or something going on. So every store seemed to have a quilt or multiple quilts hanging out front. So there were people just lined up and down the main street. And they even had the sheriff's department out directing traffic to get people through town. But other than that, I mean, it looked like a kind of a small, lazy town that seems to survive on tourism. I ended up just going up into the national forest outside of Sisters and staying for a couple nights to get me to Monday, thinking, oh well, Monday's going to be much slower. But when I don't know, got into town, I didn't see anything worth sticking around for. Unless I wanted to go to restaurants or something like that. But instead, I decided to go hit the coast of Oregon. So I drove west from Sisters to Eugene, and then from Eugene further west to the coast. But that drive from Sisters through the pass, whichever pass that was really pretty. And then you get up to the top of the mountain range or whatever, it's basically a lava flow. And there's I don't know, it was just a very interesting drive, let's just put it that way. So when I got to the coast, I don't even know what town it was, but it's whatever town is like right near the Oregon sand dunes. I went out and just climbed up the dunes and looked out over the ocean, but the wind was just whipping through there and just sand blasting my face. I went from interior Oregon, where it was like 85, 90 degrees during the day, and now here on the coast it's like 62 and chilly, and I'm getting pelted with sand. So it's pretty to look at, but ouch. So I really didn't stick around very long, just decided to continue my way north. So that brings me to today. I'm gonna stop in Newport, Oregon, and there just seems to be a lot to do here from what I was seeing online. Both outdoor activities and seeing some sights and things like that. So follow along and see where we go. So one of the first things I decided to do was check out the breweries in Newport. This one's called Beer One. I think that's a play on Pier One, the furniture company or whatever, but I'm not really sure. This brewery had some interesting artwork, from the driftwood chairs to driftwood dioramas and other artwork made from trash and things picked up in the ocean. They had a game room in the back, but overall I didn't really care for this brewery too much. It just didn't have that feel I typically like from the breweries I go to. The second brewery is called Newport Brewing and was actually closed for renovation. This was their location in the Nye Beach neighborhood, and it was permanently closed, so who knows if the brewery is going to open back up again or not. And that brings me to the third brewery. Rogue Ales and Spirits, located on the bay, is by far the largest in the area, with locations in Newport, Portland, Astoria, and Salem. I ended up getting a late lunch here because their menu looked delicious. This is the Mac Attack Burger, which was basically just a burger loaded with mac and cheese and jalapenos. This is what the weather looked like just outside the brewery. Blue skies on the bay side of the bridge, and as I pan across, the ocean side is just socked in fog. After the brewery, I headed just down the street to the Oregon Coast Aquarium. Admission was about $30 for one adult, which is more than I usually like to spend for something like this, but online reviews said it was worthwhile. I think this sea otter exhibit was one of my favorite in the entire aquarium. Watching them dive down and pick up a rock and then go back up to the top and float around and play with the rock, it was almost like watching a kitten play with a ball of string. So the green one there is an anemone. The purple one is a sea urchin, and then there obviously is a starfish there. Later on in the video, you'll be able to see me visit the tide pools and actually get to see those in the wild. One part of the aquarium that I really liked was their sculptures they had on display from trash pulled out of the ocean. Made up of everything from plastic grocery bags, water bottles, soft drink bottles, coolers, and just about any other kind of plastic you could think of. It was both interesting and sickening at the same time. This is the Yaquina Bay Bridge. It's an arch bridge that spans the Yaquina Bay on the south end of Newport. It's one of the most recognizable bridges along all of Route 101, and probably one of the most photographed. I went there 3 or 4 times. The first time it was foggy, the second time it was partially sunny, and then another time it was sunny on the bay side and foggy on the ocean side. This park wrapped around the point. On one side it looked at the bay and the bridge, and then on the other side it looked at the ocean. This is one of the trails down to the beach. I was really impressed with how well kept this park was. I really didn't see any kind of trash laying around, even in the picnic area up above. The hot stand felt really good on my feet. But as soon as I got out to the water, it was really cold and the wind was picking up. So I didn't stay very long. Went back up to the parking lot. I really wanted to see the Yaquina Bay Lighthouse, but it was closed for renovations. This is the historic Nye Beach area of Newport. This area offers gift shops, galleries, coffee houses, restaurants, wine shops, and one of the best access points to the beach. That night I went up to the Nye Sands lookout to try to get a time lapse of the sunset, but the fog had rolled in and it was just not cooperating with taking any kind of video at all. These stairs lead down to Cobble Beach, which, as the name implies, is filled with golf ball sized or larger cobblestones that have been worn down by the ocean over thousands of years. Walking on this beach is weird. It's like walking on a field of ball bearings. With every step, it felt like the ground was going to roll out from under me. The real attraction of this beach are the tidal pools. As the tide comes in, animals get trapped within the rocks and around them. And so as the tide goes out, you can go out onto the rocks and actually search for these creatures. This is one of those green anemones that we saw earlier in the video at the aquarium. And then I believe this is a certain species of barnacle. I saw a little crab go in the rocks here, but for the life of me couldn't find where it went. This is a pretty large orange starfish. Other people said they saw it move, but I never saw it move. I showed this one to the park ranger. I can't remember what he called it, but he said it was a pretty unique find. Once again, the fog rolls in and completely washes out the view of the ocean behind the lighthouse. Before leaving the area, I stopped in at the Yaquina Head Interpretive Center. I learned the history of the area and how it used to be called Cape Foulweather Lighthouse. And based on the fickle weather that I saw when I was there for the 3 hours I was there, I can see why it got that name. And now as I'm leaving, the sun has come out, so I decided to walk over to the lighthouse again and get pictures of it in the sun. Just down the road from the Yaquina Head area is Agate Beach. And this is a public beach that you can go and dig for agates on. I didn't have any shovels or buckets or anything like that, so I didn't attempt to do any digging. These folks look like they were doing their best to find some agates. I did come across these guys. They're YouTubers that go by the name Sickos, and they're kind of jackass style that they just go around the country doing stupid stuff. And so me and some other locals just sat up on top of the bluff overlooking the beach, watching them set up to do their stunt. They sat there in the pedal boats for a while talking about what they were planning to do and safety stuff. And I think what the plan was, drive the pedal boats out into the surf and then use them to surf back into shore. This is one of the sickos explaining to his girlfriend the shot they needed from up on the bluff with the telephoto lens. Here they are carrying the boats out into the surf with another girlfriend following with the camera. You'll notice both boats have a canopy on top, and we were thinking that that was going to be a safety hazard if those boats flipped over in the surf. Now here they got the boats in the water and they're using the rip current along the bluffs to take them as far out into the surf as they could get. Now this is the jet ski they hired to help pull them into the surf if needed, but more so for safety purposes. Unfortunately, this is also where my camera ran out of batteries. In the end, the blue boat sank and the orange boat was out in the surf until I left. I figured I needed to try some seafood while I was in the area, and apparently Moe's has the best clam chowder, and they also had live music on the patio, so I figured it was a win-win. I ended up ordering the fish and chips platter with a small side of chowder, and while there had been one more fish fillet before I ate it, I thought they skimped a little on the portions. After dinner, I decided to walk around the Bayfront area and take a look at all the shops and restaurants that they had going on down there. This is the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, and while it's the epitome of tourist trap, I was really impressed by the statues here of the gorilla and then the lion that are made from recycled tires. That was pretty impressive. I could be wrong, but I thought this was where the large group of sea lions was supposed to hang out. Ordinarily, they take over the entire dock, and people are all around taking photos and videos. So I don't think these people would be here if this wasn't the spot. Well, guys, that's going to be it for this week's video. I'm on to my next adventure. If you've made it this far in the video, please consider subscribing and hit that like button. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.